welcome down to the first episode in 2026. We had a little bit of a break. We got through that kind of pretty bad start weather-wise to 2026, but we've got a really exciting episode down here today in March ahead of the kind of the springtime coming in. And I thought, what better way than talking to Natalie Dean,
Hello.
Who's been with us for 25 years now, or over 25 years, and it's all about winning in the spring market. So without further ado, welcome Natalie,
Hi.
Sales Manager down here at Boydens in Colchester. And as I say, 25 years of experience.
Absolutely.
All with us as well.
All with you. Always by your side, Phil.
And, well, not my father's side originally, and obviously Des's side, but before that. But now, before we get into kind of what the guys are kind of probably tuning in to hear about today, give us a bit of an overview. You know, how did you first get into property? And it's kind of always been in the blood a little bit with yourself, hasn't it?
Yeah, so my family, I've got a background in shop fitting, carpenters, so I was brought up at pub openings and property. I used to come home from school and there were a wall knocked out of our house, and so yeah, that's kind of, and then moving over to Tenerife, I worked in the property industry there, and then coming back 25 years ago, just decided on the boat that I wanted to be a estate agent.
Yeah.
And
you were kind of in sales though whilst you were in Tenerife, weren't you?
Yeah. Always worked in sales, even before I went over there. So it just seemed a natural progression to come into a estate agency, and I saw an advert for Boydens. Didn't know anything about them. Went and did an interview. Started working as a weekend.
Saturday girl.
Because we used to open Sundays in those days. And within a month I was called back and asked to come full time, which I did.
Yep.
And I've been here ever since.
There was a funny story, wasn't there, Nat, that when our area manager at the time employed you,
Yes.
They said you will never be a full-time staff member.
Yeah. Yes, she. I must admit, that sort of time it was mini skirts. I was very tanned, very blonde hair. I don't think I fit. I cut the Boydens cloth, but obviously they knocked that out of me, and now I'm normal apparently, allegedly. But yes, that was quite funny. But rapidly, sort of moved on and went through the ranks of assistant to manager, and I've been manager ever since I think 2013.
It's been 13 years.
Yeah.
So all pretty much half the time you've been here, you've been kind of heading up the sales side downstairs, which is it's been a whirlwind even since then. I think the last time some of you might remember, I sat down with Natalie after 20 years, wasn't it? We sat down and we had a chat. It was in the heart of lockdown, and you know, this office has got 3 stories. We've got 20 odd members of staff in this office, and we were the only ones in here. Down in the front desk.
We weren't furloughed. We didn't qualify for furlough. Was true.
No furlough for us. And we just sat down and had a chat and went through stuff then, which 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Now.
Do you remember my last question to you, Phil?
I can't. No.
It was, so you're going to get married and have babies?
Ah, well.
And there you go, obviously.
Yeah, 5 years
5 years later.
Yeah, both of those have happened.
Yeah.
Only one of them just, though. Only one of them just. But no, let's go more down the property area now. Over the last 25 years, what would you say has changed the most in the world of property in the UK?
So I would say starting in 2000, Rightmove coming on board, which I remember having to scramble through newspapers to find a property that we were going to value. You know, the days of trying to find out what it sold for previously, you couldn't do that. There were no land registry. So although Rightmove has made it a lot easier to get the information, it's also taken away that personal aspect of it, because people can now just send you an email. They don't speak to you as much. I think also the tech the tech has definitely changed over those years. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of agency used to be who you knew and who you wanted to speak to. And hand-holding, there's still the hand-holding, especially once the sale is agreed. But that personal, I know what you're looking for, let's go out and find that. Because people don't approach you as much as they used to do, that's kind of disappeared a little bit. Although at Boydens, we do try and do that. You know, if you're looking for a specific property, we want you to tell us and we'll try and find that for you. But it's check the soul out vividly.
Do you think that almost there's become too much information online for people to go out there and almost over confuse themselves with, you know, and I know that we always find it when they get advice from other family members who maybe have sold and bought a couple of times in their life, but they haven't done it for 14 years or so, and they're kind of advising family on doing certain ways, but actually the market has moved on in that time, and you know, if we are your client, we will give you the honest and the best feedback we can, really.
Yeah, I do think that you can have as much information as you want online, but until you actually get into that property, you don't know what it feels like. And it's all about emotions. People don't buy property unless you're an investor, but most people buy properties on how it makes them feel. You know, if you walk into a house and you automatically feel at home, that's it. You've done it. You can dress it up as much as you want, but that's the one thing that's always going to sell a property.
So my next question, that was what has stayed consistent, and that is
emotions. People buy on emotion.
Absolutely.
You know, no matter how, you know, you can have the greatest house in the world, but I've seen it so many times when people walk in and just go, oh, it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
You know, so my advice would always be, if you see something, go and look at it. If you've got even 20% idea that you're going to like it, just go and have a look, because at the end of the day, it's not what we show you, and believe me, we can manipulate what we show you. It's what you feel about that property when you get through that door.
Even this last couple of weeks now, I had a client of mine saw a property going on the market, phoned me up. They're trying to get their name on it, and they were like, "Oh, will they accept this? Will they accept that? You know, will we be able to do this? Can we do that?" And I was just like, "Look, guys, just go and have a look at it, and then we'll go and have a look." They had a look at it, and they went, "Oh no."
And that's the flip side.
Not for us. But then sometimes, weirdly enough, it's the other way around, whereas someone has discounted something, and you know in your head that property is right for that person, and you go, Come on, Steve, and Linda, let's go and have a little look at it. And they go around, they go, actually, this could really work for us. And my next question, I think we've answered it as well, Matt, was what separates great agents from average ones? And I think that you've always got to have your blinkers on, or not your blinkers off, your blinkers off, to be seeing what is going on and helping those clients moving forwards. But anything else that you'd say that
Yeah, I think also when you're looking at property, it's very easy to look at properties with rose-tinted spectacles. You know, so from a lister's point of view, it's looking at it properly and then getting the best out of it as well, and knowing what that best is. So sometimes it's very easy to skirt over things. So for example, gardens, you know, having at my grand age now, working out how expensive gardens are to actually
they're going
landscape.
up and up,
You know, it's looking at something like that and recognising potential in things and what people can do, but also not overstating the potential, because that can detract from the value of a property when a buyer thinks that can be deducted from the asking price. So it's getting a very good balance as to what you can do without taking it away from the value of the property.
Yeah, it's about pricing at the right kind of figure. But spring market now.
Yes.
Why has the spring market traditionally been such a strong time to sell? I think traditional as well has gone kind of full circle since COVID. It's kind of gone, whoa, I think we're settling down. So I'll ask that question again. Why is spring traditionally, over the last 25 years, etc., been such a strong time to sell?
Okay. So it's the start of spring, isn't it? It's the start of everybody's gardens looking nice. It's the start of seeing the, your daffodils out and and you being able to actually mow your lawn. But it's also to do with the schools.
Yep.
So if you are moving into an area, which we deal in quite a lot, which is Lexington or anywhere really that's got a really good primary school, a really good secondary school, then traditionally the plan is that by the time you've got your property on the market, by the time you've sold it, by the time it's gone through conveyancing, it will be August and it will be time for the kids to get into school. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. So you see that second window open, September, October, for the next intake, which is normally January. However, of course, in recent times, it's been more about when mortgage rates are low as well. So, and also, let's just point out at this stage, not everybody has kids going into school. No. So they're not governed by that. But what you do see a landslide of properties coming onto the market at this time because they look the best. And that's it. And I had a client last week say, we're going on in summer because it'll look better. By summer, if you were having a good summer, the grass can start to look yellow. Yeah. Whereas in spring, you can have that nice green, fertile looking grass, which is what everybody wants.
And I think that I know choice isn't sometimes a good thing for a seller, but actually if there's more choice out there, then people are going to get out there and get active and go, right, we are going to get moving this year, and it kind of drives people to make a decision. Whereas if there's a lack of stock on the market, and it's not that lubrious as such, it kind of gets everybody moving really.
Yeah, and if you look at people coming out of area, it's better for somebody who's maybe coming from the outskirts of London to come to Colchester and look at 4 properties rather than just come for 1. So you'll see more viewers at that point, and then that opens up the open days again. Do we do open days on certain properties, which since COVID haven't been as strong, but maybe in springtime when you've got something that's amazing, that's on that road that everybody wants, then we bring the open days back in, which always generate interest and but springtime, I think it's kind of traditional as well. It's in everybody's bones, and everybody's like, ooh, let's go for it. It's basically Easter, and Easter moves. So this year it's really early. Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Which is great for us.
Yeah. Well, last year Easter was really late, wasn't it? Really late. And actually, we found that people were going, we'll hold off and we'll launch it just before or just after Easter. And then by the time that happened, it was like, there's only six or 8 weeks left until the kids break up. So, we won't really bother, kind of thing. Whereas it's earlier this week. Is it in 2.5 weeks' time?
No. I've given
it's early April.
It's early April. It's
sorry.
the 4th of April. I can tell you that because I've given things up. And I'm looking
until
forward to
then.
having them again.
So, are we expecting that surge, you think, this year from going out and doing the valuations that you've done so far this year? If they kind of we're getting stuff ready, and then we're gonna hit the ground running in kind of second week of March, would you say, or when the people thinking
I think
of doing
people
things?
are gearing up now. I'm getting a lot of clients saying that, unfortunately, because as we all know, the weather this year has been awful. So we're seeing a lot of clients, especially this week, almost getting out into the gardens to mow the lawn and then being rained off. But I do think that, once they can get out into the gardens, do a little bit of something, but they are already talking about launching just before that Easter period, which is what we want. But don't get me wrong, there's other people who are launching anyway. So it's never an empty, it won't be dead until that point. There's still more properties coming on because we also put properties on from landlords who are coming out of the market and they don't care about when. So, it's constantly renewing and new things coming on and new sales happening.
So if someone at home is thinking of moving this year, Nat, would you say get on with it just before that surge starts? So kind of aim to kind of get on within the next couple of weeks, so you are on the market by, say, the 20th of March, something like that. Would you kind of say get on with it, or just make sure you've got the property right to then hit the market?
I mean, there's a thing about Easter, and the thing with Easter is that a lot of people go away on holiday. So as much as we big it up, there is a lot of of you guys who have taken the kids away.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, it really you're going to be looking. We can see the spikes on the Rightmove reports, but the physical footfall might not happen until you get back. However, being out there is good enough for people to see. But if you're delayed for whatever reason, or the reason that you don't come to market is you want that week that you're off on holiday to finish off your garden,
very true.
You're not going to miss out. You are not going to miss out. I think what I'm saying is that Easter period kickstarts the market. It's not, you don't have to be on for it. It kickstarts it. So anybody who's out there, remember, if 20 people are interested in one property, only one of them's going to buy it. So there's 19 that are looking for a similar property in a similar area or a similar school catchment. So you're not going to miss out. It's just getting your ducks in a row in time for that spring market. And hopefully it'll come soon this year.
And I think we'll in a bit we're going to touch on what those things are that you can do to kind of boost your property value as much as possible, really. But trends, Nat, in terms of buyer trends, there was a certain period of time, 2018, 2017, up to those kind of times. No need for any home officers or anything like that. It was kind of big open plan, which is still in, but big open plan places. But almost you open the door and you just had one big room. That was what was really hot in kind of 2017, 2018, 2019, anything from like I suppose 2015 up to 2010. And then we saw a bit of a change, obviously over the COVID times, in which there was a lot of people working then from home and needing that working from home element or somewhere to do that. But since then, have we seen some reversion back, or are there any kind of new trends that are coming in?
No, I think speaking to a lot of clients, they do like to have a separate reception now.
Okay.
So, and maybe that's because they've suddenly realised that maybe, the partner wants to watch football. And they don't.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Depends who you're watching, I suppose. However, just having another reception that they can go into that's comfortable, rather than just being sat in another bedroom or in a home office. So that I'm seeing that kitchen breakfast, the open plan, bifold doors, sliding doors going onto the garden, that's always the tick, 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 tick. But everybody's got different tastes. I think I'm seeing quite a lot of home offices that are going out into the gardens, rather than in the home. So there's privacy away from the kids.
Cabin or something like that.
Yeah, I think
Scandinavian cabin.
Doing the in the home kind of home office worked as an easy fix. But if they want to be able to close the door, if the kids are of a certain age, close the door on the kids so they're not knocking on that and getting in. So I'm seeing more of that. And also, it's not just working from home, it's people now who are maybe nail technicians or beauticians and aesthetics, things like that, who those home offices can work as a studio for them, or even artists. There's quite a lot of new ways for people to work, and it's not necessarily in a big company. It's doing that on a separate
making an income in hours that work around them, rather than working for big corporate firms. So I suppose what I've taken from that now is kind of a home that is adaptable, that you can open up and have. As have the family around, have guests around, have it all open if you want, but then the adaptability to shut it away, and then you've got your cozy lounge. I always say to the front, because that's the ideal place for it to be, with a little fireplace, and then pocket doors that shut up and then close it. But adaptability.
I am also seeing people putting bifolds inside the house.
Okay. Yep.
So this is to do mainly with the heating costs as well that have gone through the roof. So they have the bifolds that they can close to keep that. So if they've got a big open plan, that can then section areas off that they're not using. So it might be the dining area, they put the bifolds on, it's all double glazed, they're not heating that, it saves them money. So there is, I'm not seeing lots of it, but I'm seeing more of it, I think, where especially in bigger homes, where they get that opportunity to just save money where they should.
So true. So true.
It's silly, isn't it? You're just burning your pound notes, really.
But now looking more about getting kind of ready for marketing, those kind of things. When should a seller begin preparing, really?
All the time.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're Gardens are a different ball game because you know you're going to lose months in your garden, but things in the home, just keeping on top of things is what I'm saying. You know, keeping those skirting boards and those windows clean and things like that.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that is overlooked sometimes is curb appeal. So let's get that front of your home looking appealing, looking like somebody wants to open that door and see what's inside. So curb appeal is always a really, really big one. The next thing is always clean it and clear the clutter. Everybody, I'm guilty, we have piles of newspapers and magazines or, you know, cups and things on worktops that we don't actually use. Get it in a cupboard, get it out of the way, let people see how much space they can work with. You know, rather than how many toasters you've got and air fryers and coffee machine. I mean, they're lovely, but really we don't need to see them all the time, especially. And the other thing as well, make sure that's done for your photos. Because you can put it all back after. You know, 90% of the time we are selling someone's home. It's not a show home, and the person that's going to buy you is coming from exactly the same place. You know, they've got all the things. If I recently did a viewing for a lady. And she had 2 kids and a dog. What I thought it wasn't up to my standards, she loved it because that's how she lives. So, you know, don't prejudge as well. But most people who go to buy a family home have got a family of themselves and they know how hard it is to keep on top of everything. So don't beat yourself up, but clear the clutter if you can.
I would say that there's one thing. This is more kind of further down the line when you're doing viewings, and that is kind of without saying, it's if you have got a dog or there's a certain smell or something like that, is to try and clear the air through because of sometimes if you go through a front door and a smell hits you before you even look around, it can put you off. So I know that I did say that we'd go round with Febreze or something like that, but something that smell of freshly baked bread and that kind of thing to set the scene, or coffee, that kind of smell. So if you have got, you know, dogs which maybe you may have become immune to that kind of smell, do just open the windows, just, you know, for half an hour before, and just let a breeze roll through. I'm just going to go back to curb appeal now, just because of, as you say, it is important, and people often do overlook it. Some simple kind of fixes on that in terms of, for myself, I'll just put one in. I'm sure you've got others that you'd say is, if you're in a rural location and perhaps the driveway is looking pretty bad and awful, you know, a couple of ton bag of shingle is about 60 to 80 quid. You can get a big kind of shingle in and just get them to place it in there, and then you just spread it out with a rake, and honestly, something as simple as that can really change the feel of it as soon as they arrive. Because, you know, someone pulls in the driveway and it's potholey, there's bits of broken up old driveway all over the place, but if you've got a nice shingle kind of topping to it, then it shows that it's looked after before, really.
And jet washing, if you've got a proper driveway, taking the weeds out, putting plants on either side, maybe some flower baskets. You know, it's difficult with doors sometimes depending on your door, but if you know your doors can be painted, just give it a quick lick of paint. You know, some nice numbering so people can find you. I mean, in a preferred world, we'd have a board so they can easily find you, but we know that certain landlords, owners don't want that. But if we can find you, they can find you.
It just helps with that process, doesn't it? Because it's like, I couldn't find you. I've been looking up and down the road for the last 5-10 minutes, and they're flustered already because they know they're late. Whereas, you don't even think of a board. You just think, I'm just going to get loads of inundated with rubbish. But it's just about helping with that, getting to
purchasers to find where you are. So that can really help. But if you can, take your rose tinted glasses off and just look at the front of your home. I had to do it with mine last year. We're covered in weeds. So, I'm like, oh dear. Best get that sorted.
And I think that's where we are in the right way when we come out and give you an appraisal. we will gently say, perhaps you could do this, perhaps you could do that. You know, some things, if you've got UPVC windows and fascias and those kind of things, you know, you're looking at 80 quid to get those cleaned properly.
Not even that.
And get Brett down there, and he'll make it look as if it's brand new. And it's just about showing that it's looked after from the start, because you don't want someone to think, oh, that's not been done. What else hasn't been done?
And that's the thing. It's always the what else. Mm-hmm. So just, especially if it's such a simple fix. I mean, at the end of the day, this is probably your biggest asset. The biggest thing you're ever going to sell.
Yeah.
You know, why not make the most out of it? You know,
if you were selling your car, you wouldn't sell it dirty, would you? You'd clean your car. Well, some people probably.
It's to do with the headlights, apparently. If you clean your headlights, that's what does it.
If they're sparkling headlights.
Yeah. Allegedly, that's what Sam tells me every time I speak to him.
Okay.
All about the headlights.
All about, and the headlights of a house, I suppose, is that curb appeal.
Yeah.
How far, decluttering, staging, minor improvements, those kind of things, how far should you go with decluttering and those kind of things? Would you say just, obviously it depends on how cluttered the house is, really.
But I think just to a normal, you know, standard, you know, just if you've got, you know, week-old newspapers on a table, they shouldn't be there. Just move them.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You know, what I'm not saying to you is change how you live your life to do that. You know, if you use the air fryer every day, you don't want to be putting it away in a cupboard. Only do that on the day that we take the photos. But live your life how you have to live your life. I think moving to the next stage, we move on to selling your home. What things can you improve, and what things should you or shouldn't you improve? Mm-hmm. And that is a very long conversation, depending age of property, you know, how old certain things are. And also, one of my big things has always been spend money on the house that you're going to buy, not on the house that you're going to leave, depending what you're spending that on. So new kitchens and new bathrooms, for example, providing that they're working and serviceable and reasonable, by spending £10,000 on a bathroom that they might not even like, might be a waste of your money, which could be spent, I'm sure, far better in the home that you're moving to.
It is a fine line, that, isn't it, Nat? And I think we've sold thousands of houses over the years, and it is always quite a tough one when you've sold a property to someone and you know that the vendor went through it all with a fine-tooth comb before going to market, and then you go back round 18 months later just because they want an update of they phone up and go, oh, we've just done a few bits, and you go, what few bits have you done? And because there was nothing that needed doing, and you go round and they've literally stripped out everything that was done. Remember there was their house in we're not going to go down that route, but
no, we're not.
But there was one that honestly someone had bought it as a wrecker, completely renovated it, and the buyers on the day of completion, they had builders in there redoing it.
Yeah, and it happens quite a lot. I hate to tell you this, it happens quite a lot. It's kind of I think one thing that I've always thought is what do you call new? So an example of that is when I'm taking down information before I go to see a client about valuation, I'll say, so what about your kitchen? Oh yeah, it's new. Oh really? So you've just had it put in? No, it's new from when I bought. And when did you buy? 1984? Okay. So everybody's got their own definition of new, but I do think that when you're looking at a kitchen, 90% of people, you can have a 10-year-old kitchen that's still really fashionable and nice. You can have a 20-year-old kitchen that definitely isn't, but a modern buyer is probably going to get rid of both of those, no matter what age. So unless that kitchen is, how can I put this? Unless the kitchen suits them, which is what, and is really functional. But I mean, in this day and age, people can change the worktops, can change the units, can change the colour, can change the handles. You know, going out and buying a new kitchen isn't necessarily what you need to do. However, it's all about what the buyers want.
I'd say that with a kitchen, for instance, now I know we're going down a bit of a wormhole here now, but an ultra modern property that has, say, it's got extension now out the back, and it's kind of got the kitchen has been designed, or the extension has been designed around a kitchen, they're less likely to change that, aren't they?
But
Whereas
that's going to be quite a modern.
Yeah, it's going to be nice anyway, isn't it?
And also, you can get it wrong, can't you? You can put, I've seen people who live in farmhouses or traditional cottages.
Yeah, and they put too much
kitchen
one.
in,
And
it just don't, but that's down to personal taste. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't.
Absolutely.
We can't.
I know a story that you're thinking of, which is in my head, which is quite recent. But pricing for success, kind of going in. Now, how should sellers approach pricing this spring? What would you kind of say?
I think we have seen a kind of flat line over the last year or so. 2 years since Liz Truss and the interest rates went up.
Yep.
We saw a bit of a decline, but that were mainly from properties that were overvalued in the first place, that were still riding on that curve. I think we saw prices drop, certainly on the higher end, but then they've kind of hit a level where they're kind of flatlining. There is talk that prices will go up by 2% this year. That's not massive amounts.
No.
However, the interest rate is the thing that's keeping everything stable.
Yeah.
And we are talking about another drop, hopefully in March. Mm-hmm. If we get that, I think that, again, just before Easter is perfect.
Might rally it a little bit more. Yeah. Because I think that harping back to COVID times, it's in the Colchester area that Nat knows so well. We saw the prices. It wasn't really area specific. It was just the market was all up at this kind of height, whereas we always knew, okay, that area is always notorious a little bit less than this area, but they were all 4 beds attached around Colchester plus 3 miles. Bang, that's your price, wasn't it? Whereas now I think we're seeing that okay, that area there is a little bit less. That area is a little bit more, and it's kind of it's returning back to actually needing that local knowledge as to what the pricing is for that location.
Yeah, and I'll always say to people, when an agent comes out and sees you, ask them where they're getting the pricing from, because it's really easy to pick a figure, but actually you need to do your research on your figures as to why you're saying that. Mm-hmm. I think being able to say, well, this one's sold for this amount, but you've got X amount more and your kitchen's nicer, or you've extended, but without being able to talk people through that knowledge, how do they know? And please, please, please don't trust Zoopla. It has no clue. No. It will give you a rough idea, and it is a rough idea. Yeah. But if you've extended or updated, how does it know? Yeah. So it's not the be all and end all, and it can go either way. It can down value or up value you. And
I think it's particularly wrong if you bought your house, say 30 years ago in the 90s or in the 80s, even up to kind of 98, because there is no record of it online. It is literally the price you bought it for with some really outdated data, which is probably incorrect. Whereas if it has been on the market in the last 10-15 years, at least there is a footprint there that it kind of works on. But as Nat says, if you've done things to it, it doesn't take that into account at all. It's a good gauge. If you moved 2 years ago and haven't done anything, then it'll give you a rough idea on that front. But overpricing that can really kind of damage the momentum to start off with, can't it? If you go out at too high a figure, you're going to lose that new to market kind of feel. So that's why you need to look at those comparables. And by comparables, we don't mean properties that have been on the market and then been withdrawn. We're talking about properties that have been on the market and have actually sold. Obviously, the ones that have been on the market and withdrawn are of interest, because often you'll find, okay, that went on at that price, but it didn't sell. Yeah. And, we might not know the full figures, but if you can see, right, it went on with that agent at that price, didn't sell, and then it went on at that agent at slightly less, still didn't sell. So that's obviously a motivated buyer that actually did want to sell because they were changing agents. But but that is a telltale sign that was probably overpriced in the time that was on the market.
And you're always going to get the seller who has a price in the head, who no matter what you say will want to go onto the market at that level. And do you lose the instruction or so sometimes you've just got to agree to differ, because this isn't science.
No.
And that's, if I wish there was an equation where we worked out what your square footage was, what your condition was, times that by X, and that's your price. But because of locations and the emotional side of things and how people live and the quality of what they put in. I mean, you can walk into the same house and one's got a kitchen from Davenport's and one's got one from Wicks. They're essentially the same house, look at the same looking kitchen, but there is a difference in the quality of what's in there. So how do you work that out on an equation? If you can work that out for me, I'd be very pleased. Please, emails accepted.
So what makes a strong kind of property launch, would you say? What's the key things that we do to make sure that we get the most for clients out there? What would you say is that?
I think getting the photos right is always the first thing. Ensuring that the client is happy with those, and if we're going to go to market, we need floor plans, which are essential. Going to market now without a floor plan is a waste of time. Ensuring that all the photos are spot on, and the video as well. So those three things, and then I think the launching process of launching, if you can, after 4:30, sort of Thursday, Friday, Saturday at push, because that's when people are scrolling through, on the trains on the way back from work, from London or wherever. So it's getting those points out, but also making sure that the client's happy. So, for us, before anything is released, it goes to you to ensure that you like what we've done and what we've written. 90% of the time, I know no one reads all those heartfelt write-ups that we do, but they're there for you to read. But I do know that photos, floor plans, videos, and the videos we do now, which are 360s, the warts and all, we can't hide anything. So from a buyer's perspective, they can look and make sure that in every corner there isn't a crack, they can enhance it and things. So this is the new technology that helps the buyer look, but always go and look at it after. It's
number one. I always say that people look at is obviously number one is your price, first of all, only because of then obviously that is the price, and then the photo, and then they'll jump down to the floor plan, and then they might actually read the write-up if we're lucky.
Spend hours doing that.
But that will be the procedure. So it is so important to really get those photos right, and that is down to that decluttering and those kind of elements, to be able to show in its best light. Really.
Going back to the boards as well, having the boards on the property when you launch, I think is really important, because you'll be amazed how many people are driving, even if you live on a cul-de-sac. Think of all those Deliveroo and delivery people and neighbours and friends of, they're all coming down your road, postmen, who you don't realise might just be wanting to buy a property exactly where you are. So, or neighbours who want their son to live next door. So, that it's a process, but it does, if you're going to go for it and you want to go for it, do everything, throw everything at it. Don't, the amount of times I've heard I want to sell, but can I sell without being on Rightmove? No, you can't. I don't want to board. Why? Do you not want to move? So it's, I understand to begin with a board until you've told everybody you need to might be something you don't want, but if you seriously want to move to your dream home in Wales or Cornwall, let's throw everything at it. Let's do it properly.
And you want to, and that without doing all these pillars of marketing, you could potentially not be getting that best price possible for it, because of as Nat says, it's kind of passive marketing, which is a board, but those people that have someone that they want to live close to them, or maybe they've been driving past your house for the last 20 years and gone, if that ever comes on the market, I want to buy that, or I want that, they would never have known.
They'd never have been,
because they're not one of those people that are always on the online property portals searching for property all the time. It's not everybody's hobby. But
I get paid to do that. Hurrah for me.
But certainly back 25 years now. Biggest lessons learned over that 25 years, would you say?
Still learning. I've got to say this now, but I do think the most important thing is communication. And we're all guilty of missing people. If somebody's watching, I've forgotten to call you, I will apologise now. But I do think that communication, why? You know, sometimes we get ourselves in a state where we're so busy we don't have time to make those calls. But those calls are so important, and that's either to vendor or purchaser. You know, if you've said that you're going to call someone, call them. If not, apologise and ring them back and say, I'm so sorry. Communication is key for everything, no matter what you do.
And I agree, especially on kind of sales that we've tied up and agreed, and that's why we've obviously got Gemma and Sophie, who are principally employed to progress that sale from the point where it's agreed to completion. So that is their job. They remind solicitors to be doing what they should be doing. They remind buyers that they should be paying the solicitors for what they should be doing. It's about keeping on top of everything, and for ourselves, kind of on the front end, so to speak, running around showing people properties, going out and matching people to properties. You've got to have someone in the background making sure that everything's going in the right direction, really.
I must admit that, you know, when we came back after COVID, having the sales progression was a game changer, because we were so busy with people running out of London, there just wasn't time to be chasing solicitors on top. I mean, I used to do it. I'd stay till 8 o'clock at night to catch up, and it's just that's no fun.
And then the solicitors wouldn't be open then anyway.
No,
so it's kind of like you're
just apologising to people
chasing
constantly.
your tail. So,
but having the girls do that is just amazing, and I think it's a very strong bow to our new regime.
Absolutely regime. I might ask this, and then if nothing springs to mind, I might ask you the other one, and then you can go back to it. But a memorable spring market success story, of which there's probably many.
Yes. Do you want the funny story about Grand National?
Yeah.
Okay, so I once in spring sold a house called Silver Birches on Lexington Road. And
lovely house,
lovely house, and I sold it twice actually over the years. And at the Grand National, a white horse ran called Silver Birches, and we all put a little bet on it, and it won. We won over. I mean, I'm going back to 20 years ago, and we won over £100.
There you go.
So that was a very good Saturday. Thank you, Silver Birches.
So that's a personal success. I mean, but we did sell it as well.
We did sell the house, and sold it again, but.
There's loads, isn't there?
There's so many. I mean, coming into spring, you kind of get a bit excited about it all, because you know it's going to start. And also, I think for me, it's been interesting over the years selling for a couple who had children and now selling for their children.
Yeah.
And soon it'll be their grandchildren, which is really embarrassing. I'm obviously not opening up too much of this advice. But
one piece of advice for anyone thinking of selling in 2026.
Know your market. So I think, you know, we know we think we know what's going to happen in terms of the market not going too high. Listen to your agent. At the end of the day, we get paid on commission, so we're going to try and advise you in exactly the right way that we can. You know, we're not. If we're paid commission, we don't want to sell you too cheap, because we're not going to get paid. We don't want to put you too high, because we're not going to get paid. So we do try and level. Also, if you know anything that we don't know, remember, if you've lived in a street for 20 years, you've probably got more information about that street than we possibly could have.
Yeah.
So tell us your stories. Tell us what you know. I mean, I recently went to one where it was obvious that a house had been sold way too cheap, and it turned out that it got sold way too cheap because of a family issue that they just needed to resolve it and move forward. So having that knowledge helps you be able not only to put a valuation, but also to explain to potential buyers why that property sold for so low.
Yeah.
So really help us to help you. You know, I always look at this, it's not, we're going to be together for a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to make friends with your estate agents, you want to be, you know what you're doing, you want to feel happy, you want to feel like you're in safe hands, and that's what it's all about. It's all about not just going for the best fee or the best price.
No.
Go for someone who you think is actually talking sense. Mm-hmm. And I've lost instructions before because of those reasons. They said it were worth 50,000 more than you did. To only see it sell for 20,000 less than I said, because they hit the market wrong and lost the impetus. Yeah. So, and ask why. If I'm giving you a price, ask me why I'm saying that. Or anybody. Not just me. Yeah. Everybody who comes over your threshold is, to sell your biggest asset.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got. It's key to make sure it goes out at the right figure with the right marketing, to attract the right people to buy it, to achieve the right price for yourselves. Really, it's as simple as that. Really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but we all make mistakes, don't we? As a caveat, sometimes we're wrong. Yeah. But that's being honest and knowing that you've maybe, got something wrong on something. But if you see anything in your details when they're sent to you that you're not happy with, tell us then. Mm-hmm. Don't wait for 6 weeks and then say, well, if you wouldn't have said that, then we might have got so and so through the door. No, let's work together. We work together as a team.
It's a relationship that we're it's at least 6-9 months, and some cases it's 1-2 years before things materialise, isn't it? You go around and value something, and then you go and revalue it in 2 years after that, and then 4 years, and so there's a lot of people that have.
Well, I'm just about to launch one that I've been talking to them since they bought it 3-4 years ago. And advising on what to do to it to make its optimum, and so we're not only there to sell, we're here to advise as well. Mm-hmm. So if you did buy something that needed work and you didn't know what would optimise your property value, come and talk to us. Yeah, because we can also hopefully advise you in the right direction. Mm-hmm.
And again, there's stuff online that says, if you do that to it, you're going to increase. It is so specific on your property that you need to get professional advice, people like ourselves, to come out, have a proper look at your house, and then go from there. Whereas if you just go, loft conversion, that adds 20% of the value. Whereas actually sometimes if you do a loft conversion, it makes your property top heavy, and actually it does a negative.
Yeah. Well, I just spoke to somebody who was talking about making their downstairs, one of the reception rooms, into another bedroom, mm-hmm. which would mean that they would have 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 reception room. Yeah. So if hubby wants to watch football and the kids want to play, where they're going to go? So just think about it's that kind of, yes, it might look great on Rightmove, but the problem with that is that you're going to get people coming around who don't want to buy your house because it doesn't suit their needs. Yeah. And that again is something. Advertise what you're selling, not what you think people want. Mm-hmm. Telling someone you've got 10 bedrooms when you've only got 6. Well, you have got 10 if you made the conservatory into a bedroom and your lounge into and the garage. You could fit 2 beds. No, let's just advertise what we've actually what we're selling.
What we've got. But no, thank you very much, Natalie, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And if anyone at home has got any questions for ourselves, then please do let us know, give us a call, send us a message on all the usuals, and please do like, subscribe, follow us on all the socials as well. And if you are looking to move in 2026 in kind of the North Essex, South Suffolk area, then we'd love to hear from you. Or even if you're looking at 2027 and want to put your ducks in a row, then absolutely come and have a chat with us, because of the earlier you adapt for marketing, the better for everybody involved. So
and
give us a call. Go on now.
And also, all I'm going to say, if we know that you're coming, we can also, mm-hmm. mention that we might have something coming in an area that if they come through the door with suitcases full of cash.
And it's the right person for it, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Well, thanks guys, thanks for listening, and join us next time on the Boydens Prop-Cast. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Cheers.
Bye.